Okay, hello, hello, hello. It's Monday. Um, Today is day 75 of Art O'Clock with me, Nikki, and Tiny Doors WPB. Now, I thought about doing some special day 75, but I think we're going to do something special day 100. And today I am planning to do Make Art Monday, which is what we do on Mondays here on the channel. Even though I painted yesterday, we're going to paint again today. I am going to be doing a painting that is something I'm experimenting with. Let me check my volumes. Yep, we're good. Uh, Good to go. So I am going to be using gouache, which is kind of like opaque watercolor. And I'm going to be using it with a product called masking fluid. Masking fluid is basically, it's like rubber cement. Um, it has obviously the qualities of masking color, which means that it's a resist. Now you can do resist also with, where did it go? Oh, there it is. With a white crayon as well. So in this case, I am actually going to use the masking fluid. Gonna give it a shake. Now this is a pretty new, I think I might have used this once. Um, so I don't know if it's primed and all of that. I should have scrap paper, but we'll use this paper towel. Um, it's just like with a paint marker, you have to prime it, shake it, and the little nib that's in it, you have to squish that down. Now I have prepped my desk area. We're going to go to the tabletop. Let me switch scenes like this. All right. So this is the masking fluid that I am using. It is a latex masking fluid, and the marker is a 0.7 millimeter. It's pretty thin. Um, so it's for watercolor ink and diluted gouache. So it says we can use it with gouache. So now what I'm going to do is I do have some watercolor paper I'm going to work on today. I have it taped down onto my surface. And what will happen is this is going to give us a nice edge as long as it doesn't tear. Um, it kind of tends to tear sometimes with, even when you're using specifically artist masking um, tape. So what you're going to need is masking fluid. You're going to need gouache paints. These are the colors that I have. Um, let me spell those. So I have these in colors, and this is white, and then I also have a burnt umber. We're not going to be using burnt umber today because we are going to be making a coastal scene. So we'll be able to use these colors that we have. Now it says to use diluted wash, and we're going to test that out. I do have a different collection of all different size paintbrushes. These are standard paintbrushes. They're not watercolor paintbrushes in any way. They are just standard cheap paintbrushes. Um, I'm going to grab a couple paper towels out. When I do prep, I kind of prepped a little bit of this. These are the paper towels that are like a half a paper towel. Well, I think maybe all paper towels come like this now. And I tend to tear them in another half and in another half. So they're about this size. I don't know. It's like 5 inches. So, so I have my paper towels. I have water here, and I have my gouache paints. Now, these gouache paints that I'm using are from the Netherlands. They're actually, they're not new. So, but they seem to work pretty fine, just fine. And I will be painting this down here. Let's see if we can adjust this camera a little bit. And I do have the horizon line. It's going to be going this way. So maybe, well, I was thinking maybe I can change the direction of the camera. Shall we try it? Um, I can see if I can do that. If I rotate clockwise. Okay, get ready to go in a little spin. Um, is that the direction I want it to be? No. Let's try it again. So you can rotate all different directions on the cameras, but honestly, I think I'm just going to um, turn it back towards me. All right, sorry for that. And you guys will get the idea, right? You're just looking on the side of my desk. Um, Now, with the colors that I'm going to pick in this, we are going to do a coastal scene, and I'm going to tell you why. I love to make little bookmarks and out of watercolor. So I will make a whole painting, and then I will slice these up. I will slice the painting to approximately, let's see how big these are. Anywhere between one and a half. So this one is 1.5. This one is 1 3/4, and this one's 2 inches. So these are all bookmarks that I've made. This one has not been laminated. So these are watercolor scenes that I have painted and laminated, and they're numbered on the back. So in this painting, this was number 4, and this one's number 3. So it literally, I guess it went this way. Is this one number? No, that's a different painting. So it's probably something like this, I think. Or maybe it was this way. So you get kind of the idea, right? So it was something like this. And then I slice them into slices and make watercolor, or in this case, we're making gouache bookmarks. This is a test. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to, anywhere we want it to be pure white, you want to use the masking fluid. Now, to take the masking fluid off, you can use an eraser or sometimes just rub it with your finger to pull it off. So for us today, I am, and these bookmarks that I did here, the resist on these down here in the water area was crayon. And the top was basically I just painted some of it, but you can kind of see where I did, maybe not. You can see the little swirly marks. That's where the crayon was. So it's up to you where you want that to happen. But in this case, we're using the resist. I know I'm talking a lot and not doing much, but I need to be doing because I have a ton of work to do today. So for us, for now, let me get, do I have my ruler here? Why is my ruler never here? Where does it go? I go and get another ruler, and then that one's gone, and then another one's gone, and they just keep disappearing. I don't know. I don't know where it is. Basically, let's just. I'll put 2 marks on here. Approximately. So when this one is the painting area of this, it's going to be 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. So that means that I actually got my tape on perfectly. How cool is that? So I'm going to measure if it's 5.5 inches. I'm going to just put a little tiny pencil mark. I know I got pencils over here. I'm going to do this one about midway. So 5.5, 2, 3. 1. We're going to do it at 2 3/4 on each side. And I'm just putting a mark there so I know where the horizon line is going to be. Now you can, I'm going to take it down a little bit and erase some of that. Just want it very faint where that is. So now I know that between there and there, that's my horizon line for the beach. You guys might not even be able to see that. So, wow. Did y'all hear my phone? Am I going tiny viral, or did it just like say, hey, I'm going to connect to the internet right now? Nothing. I don't know. Advertising. Let's put my phone over there. Okay. So with this, I am going to do, maybe I should put the tape. You know what? Let's do that. Let's just go ahead and tape off the top, and we'll work from the top, on the top part down. Like I've said many times in videos, I like to work from the top down. Should I have this masking fluid covered right now? Yes. So by working from the top down, you don't smear the top of your painting if you have to reach above. So I'm going to put my masking tape across the middle and give it a good seal. Did it move? Unless it moved. When you peel tape, you have to pull it towards you like that. All right, there we go. All right. I think I got a cat here. When you have cat and you have a studio and the cat comes in that studio, oh my god. Oh well, it's gonna be there. It's not gonna hinder the painting. And anyway, all right. So what we're gonna do now is I'm going to below here, I'm gonna say my sun is gonna be off center a little bit. And I'm gonna take this masking marker and I'm gonna just put little dashes. Let me prime it again. Here's my picture. Give it a good shake. Prime it. I'm just going to put little dashes. Can you even see them? You see them? They're going to turn a color. Now, I'm going to just keep placing these little dashes in. These are going to be like the little sparkly areas of the water. I'm going to try to do the brightest part of my piece on this side. And I'm just going to place them in here, kind of going to a point. And that's where we'll get a little bit of reflection in. Now, have I done this before with watercolor? Yes. Have I done it with crayons? Absolutely. I just showed you guys. So you're going to see this is going to turn color. It's going to turn kind of blue. And then we'll take that off later. Now, what you can also do is if you want to mask off little areas where maybe there's some waves, and waves get bigger as they get closer to you. All right, so I've just added some little squigglies, some little lines, marks in there, and that's going to be where our waves are going to be. Just the tops of some little waves. Okay, so maybe you can see that. Maybe it'll appear soon and you'll be able to see that. You could push down a little harder. All right. Just adding a little bit more masking fluid to it. Those little spots. All right. So that's all going to be drying while we work on our top of our piece. I'm not going to add any masking fluid on the top for the clouds because I'm just going to paint them like normal. So once again, this is the masking fluid, drawing gum. It's like a marker, and you can get this at Hobby Lobby. They run about $8.50 for those. Now, gouache comes in many different sizes, just to let you know. This tube of gouache, which is 1.35 fluid ounces, and this tube of gouache, which is 0.5 fluid ounces, both of these were $10 each. So it's kind of funny because this is a whole lot more than this. So gouache paints can be expensive. So if you're thinking that every color is $10, well, it can add up. But remember that you can go with primary colors and just mix. Primary colors, maybe a burnt umber and black and white, and you can make all kinds of colors. Okay, so we're gonna lift this camera up a little bit. All right, live here, folks. Today we are filming live. I am going to pull out a little watercolor tray, mixing tray, and I am going to be using very little color in the top of this painting. Um, it's not going to take a lot. This one is called Clear Blue, Blue Clear. It's in Dutch, so yeah. And I'm just going to dot just a tiny touch of paint, and of course it wants to give me, oh, you know what, we're going to probably use more than that, but it's dried on the edges, so now I have so that's all the paint we're going to use for the entire blue. Now we're going to use some white. This white comes out so fluidly. Fluid. So I'm going to add some white just a touch of white. This is going to be for our mixing. This is a very small painting, so you don't need a lot of paint and you don't need giant brushes. So always keep that in mind when doing your paintings as well. Big paintings, more paint. Little paintings, a little paint. So I'm just going to touch a little bit of this yellow. That's just going to be part of our sunlight area. I'm trying to get these caps back on these paint things. And then we're also going to use, I think I'm going to use a little bit of this light red. And when it says light red, it's actually not that light. We're only going to need a little bit of paint, guys, just a little bit. And we do also have this color called Rosa. It's kind of on a pink. I want to get a really cool kind of a sunset look. So that's almost like a magenta color. All right. I think that that's all the paint. Look, this is all you need. This is probably more than enough. I could probably do 2 paintings with this. So those are our paint colors, and then this is the actual one I'm going to be mixing in. So I have 2 of these here, and I'm gonna add with a brush that's kind of thicker. I usually have a pipette, a little pipette to grab water and drop it in, but I don't have a clue where that is right now. So I'm going to add in some water because it says to use it as diluted gouache. And we're going to treat this as if it's watercolor paint. So we will be diluting it. And I'm just scooping up water and adding it to these trays. Now we are on the top going to be doing a wet on wet technique, meaning that we are going to paint on wet watercolor paper. So that means that we are going to wet the top half of this piece. So the colors I want to mix up, maybe I should have got another thing. I'm probably going to use a brush for every color. So I'm going to take a little bit of this blue, just a tiny bit of this blue, and I'm going to add it to my first tray. And then you can see it's very fluid, right? So it's very watercolory. So we're going to mix all of our colors first. So we're going to grab that. I clean this. I do have 2 things of water. I tend to have 2 things of water when I do anything like watercolor. So you have a pure color. Sometimes I have 3. You'll have a pure white. And if the camera goes out of focus, guys, I am so sorry. Or you want to have one clean water to definitely just have refill water. And then you want one to clean out your brush. Sometimes I have one first clean out, then second clean out, and then that usually can get the colors out pretty good. You can always test those colors on your paper towel. See if it's all clear. It's clear. Okay, so we have a little bit of a sky blue. I just added a little white to that. Now I'm going to go ahead and mix the sunset type of colors. So we're going to add a teeny tiny, let me see if I can focus. See, it's a very tiny bit of yellow. We're going to add that to one tray. Always clean your brush in between colors. And then I'm going to take this light red, as they call it, and I'm going to put that in and make a kind of orange. Now that might be a little, red is very strong, guys. So I'm going to have to grab a little bit more yellow, clean the brush in between, add a little bit more yellow, and it'll get more orange. All right, let's see there, it's orange. And the brush, we're going to also take a little bit of this color called Rosa. We're going to drop it some water here. And it's definitely like it's like a fuchsia. It's pink, basically. Can you make pink? Of course. But why do that when we already have one mixed? Clean it up. Always clean your brush in between. And I'm going to add to that color, I'm going to add a little bit of white because I want that to be softer. This is going to be a dynamic sunset. Now, here in South Florida, we get very pretty sunsets. So, let's see. If you are watching live, just send me a little chat. Let me know you're here. So, with that going on, we are also going to make a purple. I'm going to take a little bit of this blue and add it in to the tray adjacent to the blue. We're going to grab the red, touch of red, and we'll swirl this in, and we want to get that consistency of a light purple. So we are going to add white to that. Brush. Clean your brushes in between. I know you guys can't even see that. Maybe I can raise it up. This is my water here. This is here's my pure clean water. I have it to the side because I don't want to take a chance of spilling any water. So I'm going to add a little white to that. Take a lot of white. And this will become a light purple. And I think I'm going to add a touch more red to that. So prepping your colors takes a little time, but it's well worth it because that way you're ready to go. And this is a pretty quick process. I'm going to add more white to the purple. It's still not the color I really want. Let's add a touch more blue. And let's get crazy and add a touch of the rosa color. It's going to make it a little bit brighter. All right. Now, if I wanted to test all these colors, I do have some cut up watercolor here. This is the purple we just made. Clean it. This is the sky blue we made. I think I might lighten that up. This is going to be the orange that we made. Sorry, my alarm goes off every day at 1 o'clock. I am so sorry. Clean up my brush. and the pink that we made. So these are our colors that exist right now. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lighten this blue because I do want it a little bit more sky blue. So I'm going to take a significant amount of white. Get a drink here. Yes, I'm still drinking coffee. So I'm going to add a significant amount more of the white. I want it to be a lot lighter than that. Give it a good stir. Take off any extra because we don't want to waste that. Wash off whatever we can. All right. I usually go to lunch at 1 o'clock. So um, my phone starts going crazy at 1 o'clock for some reason. I think everybody knows I go to lunch at 1. So now we're going to test that color now. It's way lighter than it was. It might not look that much lighter, but it is. We can actually bump it a little bit more. Let's grab a little bit more. This is even lighter. All right. I'm okay with that color. All right, there's our colors. Let me put that to the side. Clean your brush, clean your brush, clean your brush. Number one thing when working with watercolor, or in this case, diluted gouache. All right, now the wet on wet technique. Now this is where the fun starts. So you could use a spray bottle, or you can just use your extra cup of clear water. If you need to just mist it, a water bottle is real good for that. I'm going to take, and we're going to apply, oh, let me see if I can get a little bigger brush. I got this Chinese brush. Make sure none of these bristles are going to come out. So it's a little Chinese paint brush. Going to wet it there. Stick it in the clean water. And we are going to coat the top of this in water. And we want it to be wet. And what happens when we make it wet, we also want to think about where those clouds might come into play and kind of draw in reverse. So I'm going to put the water only places where I will have the sky blue and leaving it not wet in areas where I want to keep clouds. It is going to be very hard to see. Maybe you guys might be able to see it a little bit better because of the sheen that it puts on. You know what I'm going to bring another light source in. And maybe that's going to help me see it. Yes, I have another light. The amount of lights that I have in here, people come in and they're like, whoa, it's a light. So, doing that so I can see where the watermarks are. I'm going to keep the water all the way to the bottom, for sure. Maybe I have to stand up so I can see. Where is it? This is going to be thirsty paper, guys. Really thirsty. We might just make it a mystery. Okay. Just put a little bit more water here. I'm gonna move it around a little bit. Okay. This is just plain water, so I'm just gonna reshape my brush and put it back. And I don't need that extra light because it's really bright for you guys. All right. So now here's where the magic comes into play. We are first going to do this baby blue. And we're going to do it towards the top. And it should go in all the places that don't have water. Now you can move it around, manipulate it a little bit. Sometimes people use straws to blow the water around. But we're just going to see where it takes us. And I could take and just paint it anywhere and build clouds naturally as well. And you'll see it spread out. But when we get down here, we're going to make this where the sun is going down. So we just want to thin this out. But we're going to start making the atmosphere have a little bit of a sunset. But we definitely want the sky to be blue at the top because the sun's just going down over here. It's really difficult for me to see where I put the water. Like I said before, you could take and use the masking fluid to make your clouds. Sometimes it's better. Okay. Now we're going to get into this strong water dish. We're going to get into the sunset. So we will put a touch of pure yellow in here. Here. Okay, got some yellow there. Wash out my brush. We're going to go from that yellow. We're going to drop in some orange around it. And let it go off into the sunset. Now what we're also going to do is we're going to drop in some of that down here too. For the reflection in the water. So while you're doing it, you can be adding that in. Now I'm going to take a little bit of the pink. I'm going to drop it in here as well. It will blend. A hint of these colors throughout the cloud areas too, because it's reflecting the light. of the sunset. So you can just drop that in here in certain areas. I'm just going to take some plain water and let this mix together a little bit more and lightly take those colors over that sun and lift them up. Move everything around a little bit. You can take a little bit of yellow, and then a little bit of yellow down here. A little too much, take it off. You really just want to make this glowing piece of artwork and have these colors coming across in certain areas. Just move them around. Just make it where these clouds are going to glow a little bit with these colors. And when you add a little bit more water, it just helps dilute the color. All right. Clean. Now you're probably wondering, what about that purple? Yep, now's the time. We're going to put the purple close to the bottom edge a little bit here. And we're going to dilute that with water. Right here, too. Oh, I had to clean my brush in the wrong thing. Diluting this down. And I know that masking tape, we have this void area, and we'll adjust that soon. I'm just going to try to pull that purple down all the way across the horizon line. I'm going to go ahead and wet this where this reflection is. I'm going to go ahead and wet it. Okay. So we've got that. And I'm going to take a touch of white. I'm going to add some water to this. And barely just go over some of these areas. I want them to be a little bit lighter. And just adding straight diluted white wash in there. It's just going to soften those colors a little bit harder than I want. I'm like whitewashing it. Gonna take a little more of the sky blue. Just go in here and add some little darker areas to give the sky a little more contrast. Especially around the edges. It's almost like painting in reverse. Clean my brush and add just some water to make that more fluid. Make it flow a little bit more. You don't want to get the blue too much into the yellow because it's going to turn green. Don't want it to turn green. Just going to wet this a little bit here and there. Smooth out these colors. And if I want to soften it more, I'm going to add white. You grab some, water down the white. Soften up the edges around where these clouds kind of are. Almost makes the edge of the clouds like a little transparent and a little hazy. If there's some areas where the color is just too harsh and you want it more pastel, just go over it with a little bit of watered down white gouache. Soften it up a little. And add a little bit, a tiny bit of water and orange to come up here a little bit. Just think these clouds need a little bit more color in them. Go lightly over it. Alright, I'm almost happy with the sky. I know it looks a little crazy because of because it's wet, but when all that dries, it'll be a little bit better. All right, let me do a tiny touch of, I touched the purple down here. Put a little bit of that in the sky. Okay, now we're going to take this horizon line, masking tape off, kind of fold it over, and then pull it. And hopefully it totally rips the paper for you. Sorry, guys. I probably should have waited till that dried, but we want to get this done. So now I have to do a little color fix here. Let me just try and grab some water and pull it across. We're going to add that in anyway. I'm going to touch a little bit more white to our palette. We're going to add some water into the white cup. And I'm going to grab a little bit of that watered down white. Since this, I'm going to pull the purple in and add the white just to get this purple in there. Grab some more white. Now, for the most part, well, my brush is super wet right now. This will be almost like dry brushing over. You want to make sure that you don't get too heavy at the horizon line. I'm not happy with this at all right here, but who knows what I'm going to do there. We'll find out. I'm just going to go over that. Now, what I do after I do watercolors, I actually, when they're nice and dry, I tend to run them, well, I put them in a book for a little bit, flatten them out, and run them through the laminator without laminating on it. I sandwich it between just paper and tend to just run it straight through the laminator. It's almost like ironing it. You could iron it with an iron, but I take the laminator and just laminate it. So I took and touched that purple on the edge. So, clean up my brush. And now what we're going to do is we're going to try to get this water down here done. I was in debate whether I was going to dry brush it or do the wet on wet. Now, I recently saw a video where it is dry brushed, but that was doing with acrylic paint. This is not acrylic paint, so we are going to probably do a little wet on wet. Let me grab my other brush. And we already have the resist there, so those areas, when we pull the resist off, it's definitely going to be white in those areas. But we're just going to take and just soak the bottom of this painting. We are just gonna wet it down. You guys can probably see that it's super wet. We're gonna have some blue. Now, I am going to add one more. This is ultramarine blue. We should use marine blue, right? Because it's the marine. So way darker blue. Just gonna add it here. Just a touch. Ooh, can I go back in? Yeah. Alright. Make sure I close these. Got some paint on my hand. Just gonna clean up. Alright, we wet that down really good. Reshape my brush back there. And now we're going to water down this with some clean water. Gonna get a deep blue. I wish I had my little pipette. It would make this a whole lot easier. And I'm gonna wet down this other blue, so this is a little bit darker. Maybe we'll pick up some more of this and put it here. I thought about doing turquoise colors in this piece, but I don't know. I think I want it to be a darker, deeper blue, just to give it more color contrast for the sunset we just made. If you are tuning in live, I really appreciate it. If you're watching this on the recap, thank you for tuning in. If you are watching on the recap, be sure to watch the video to the end if you've gotten this far. We're almost done. Now, as far as getting this resist off of here, you actually should do that when it's dry. So we will see what happens. All right, so I just mixed up that lighter blue. We have 3 tones of blue. The water is going to be darker at the horizon line than it will be in the foreground. So we will start with the darkest value and work our way towards the light as we get closer. There's not going to be a beach in this, so we're not going to worry about the sand and all of that. So I'm just going to dilute this gouache down into kind of like a watercolor. Clean it up. My phone is going crazy today. I don't even know if you can hear my phone when it beeps. But today, I guess because it's Monday and there's a lot going on, maybe that's why. I don't know. But it's busy on my phone today, apparently. So, a little bit more water in here. One drop at a time. All right. So, all right, let's go for it. We're going to pull in the darkest value first. Now, this is going to be pretty dark. We can always come back in with some white and add to it. See, is it still wet enough? I want it to be wetter than that. Let's add some more water because it's already dried out. Oh, I forgot the alarms. I don't have regular school today because it's spring break for the school. I didn't turn my school alarms off. So, anyway, just wetting this a little more time because we are definitely going to do wet on wet. So we've got the deep blue. We're just going to touch it here and there, and it will spread out. We just have to help it out a little bit. And you want it to go up into that purple as well. So if you run your brush horizontal, you'll get this nice horizontal kind of feel. The line. Gonna add a little bit more. Take it a little darker. So one thing with doing like with watercolor and this diluted gouache is you're going to start with your lightest values and then add dark over it. Because, does anybody know why? Because you cannot get it back to go lighter. So you want it to work in the lightest value first. And then take it darker afterwards if you want it to be a little bit darker in certain spots. And I know it's going into these little areas here, but that's okay. You guys can really see how wet it is. It is super wet, which is going to give us all these really fun things. So I'm going to go one more layer with the dark. One more to the back. Trying not to have those little gloops of dark. Spread it out. All right. Let's go to our next color blue. This one. And then we're going to start putting this color in. But we want to take it in. And you're going to go over the sunset areas. And then work it into the darker blue, just touching it. It will move by itself, by the way. It's a very organic process with watercolor, or in this case, diluted gouache. I'm not really happy with this art at all. And the main thing we're focusing on is trying to get the effect that the resist that we have on here to give us white little specks of little waves in here and some little glistening areas where the sunset is. Now, if you notice, it's turning green right here. That's because it's yellow. Take it and do that one more coat of this color. And do it to the back. It doesn't take a lot of paint, you guys. Does not take a lot. I could probably do like 2 more of these with the amount of paint that I have in the paint cups right now. So we've got this color. We're going to work it down so it gets a lighter value here. Just bringing this color down. Go over the sunset sparkly area so it has a tint of blue over it. Maybe you have to work some of that over and then just give it a swipe over and over. Okay. So Now, later on in another video, we will do the same kind of process with watercolor so you can see the differences in that. Now that I have this color blue in, it's pooling in some of these little valleys. I want to try to pull that out myself, wipe it off. So I don't want it that blue. You can take some off, rub your brush in there and just lift it out. Okay. So now we have that color going on. I want to go back and put that darker value again, once again, back here. And just overlap it a little bit. And you're going to start seeing where that resist is. It'll start showing up as kind of a negative color. Just dropping in some more of that deep blue that we have, just to give it a little bit more contrast and depth back in the back here. I should have put some resist under where that tape was before we started doing the bottom, but that's okay. It's all calm in the back, that background. Okay. Now we're going to go to our lightest value of blue and we're going to drop it all down here, which is going to be this one. Give it a little swirl. And this should still be wet. It should be. Let's make sure. Let's add a little bit of water just across the bottom, just to wake up that, in case it dried up a little bit. All right, the lightest value of blue is going in towards the bottom. Now, there's not much difference. The only thing that's different in this case is that we had added white to our base color. So this was the base color here. We added white here. And on the actual painting, it's not going to show you that much of a difference, but we will pull some of this out. I probably should have stretched this paper while it was wet, but that's okay. Just gonna take and try to pull out these. There's these little valleys that are in there because of the wet paper. Just try to pull some of that out and work it up and down. Now, if I want to go and make it anywhere a little lighter, I could take and add some white to this. Clean up my brush. Grab some water, go in here. Get this white paint, just soften up the bottom a little bit. Just go over it in white. It will lighten it across there. Just gonna lighten it up in places wherever we think that it needs to be a little lighter. I want it to be a little bit lighter here and soften the sunset look. Whatever. I think I just got a delivery. I ordered some. I've been using erasable pens for many, many years, and mine were pretty much going dead. So I tried a new erasable pen, and I think that just got delivered. So I'm gonna check that out. I love to use the erasable pens in my planners. Oh, Freddie's up and about. He had lunch already. I have not had lunch. I'm not really that hungry. I had 2 eggs this morning. All right, well, this is pretty much done as far as I don't think I want to wet it anymore. The only thing is that, like any of these little areas where it's pooling in these little valleys, I might pull that out of there. If you get it too wet, the paper will like start disintegrating on you. So you don't want to get it too wet at this point. It's already trying to, well, that's the resist, but you have a nice little ombre look in here with some texture because the paper tore there. Sorry. I'm just going in and taking any extra little pools of paint out. And I'm going to do one more bout of white over this area here. And just pull it to the side. So this is basically done. Brush has a good clean swim. Now, if you notice, I used only one brush to paint with, and I use this. This is Chinese or Japanese brush that I use to just soak everything down. And look at how much paint we still have left. We could totally do another one. So while that's drying, I do have some bookmarks already cut here. So I'm going to take and do some kind of dry brush. These are just going to be random colors, and I'm going to just hold this. I'm kind of scared to do this over the painting that I just did, but that's fine. And I'm just gonna drop these colors. I don't want to waste this paint. So I'm gonna just add them in on those bookmarks. And these are just gonna be some random color bookmarks that I'll do. And this is only because I don't want to waste that paint. So always clean your brush in between, don't forget. Then I'm gonna grab this pink and we're gonna add that in some spaces. I don't know what my husband's listening to up there, but it's annoying. He's watching silly videos, probably. So this is not pre-wet. This is just going to give us some fun little magic watercolor bookmarks. Just basically, it's this easy to make a bookmark, guys. Just go over it. And I'm going to go ahead and water down this yellow. And if you are just tuning in, thank you so much. I've been working with diluted gouache today to try to get same look as watercolor. And we used a resist marker to give us resist, which is basically like whiting out areas, and that's down here on the very bottom. But we have to wait for that to dry. I don't know if I've been on here a really long time. So if you are still tuning in, thank you for sticking with me. It's been a minute, or right now, 74 minutes. And I'm just going over and making some extra bookmarks here. Clean that yellow out. And I'm going to drop some white in there. Soften the yellow. So these are just going to be some random bookmarks. I might add some lettering on them or something cute. It's pretty easy just to make some cute little watercolor bookmarks. Well, watered down gouache bookmarks. Just figure on the edge here. So what gouache, it feels a little chalky to the touch when you are doing gouache. I'm just going to go over it in white and soften it up. And when I do these, I will iron them and take and laminate them all so they last longer for people. So it's fun, quick, simple. That one's done. Let's grab another one. Let's try to get some blue and green on our brush. I'm gonna use this blue. We'll do blue at the top. And grab the yellow, put the yellow at the bottom, and work it to the blue. I really shouldn't be doing this over the top of this painting that we just spent all this time on. But I'm trying to be extra careful. So these bookmarks are going to be for an event that I'm going to be at in May. So it is at the library. It's a vendor event, and I will have a series of hand painted bookmarks and a lot of bookish stuff available, including my Disney collection, because it is a fan, kind of like a Comic Con, like a fan based event. So, so yeah, so these bookmarks will be part of that for that event. And maybe I'll take Oh goodness, it's gonna rain. There's thunder. I'm supposed to leave and go somewhere around 4 o'clock today. Maybe we're not going today. Um, I really don't want to drive in the thunderstorms. We haven't had that much rain in a while here, and I want it to rain, but I don't want it to rain because today I was going to go with my friend and go shopping. Grocery shopping, that is. But maybe I'm not. Maybe I need to call and tell him, forget it. So there's the yellow and blue. And we're doing this right now to see if we can hopefully get this to be dry. Oh, I think Alexa's telling me it's gonna rain. I love that she sends us a message that it's gonna rain, and it's usually after it's already started raining. It's really funny. I'm gonna grab white. I'm gonna put white on here. I know that's kind of weird, but why I'm doing that, because I'm gonna grab this purple, which I want it to be lighter. Yeah, this month I'm dedicating a lot of my art projects to gouache, and that's what we're using today. This is not watercolor. So just to let you know, if you're just tuning in and you're like, what are you painting? Why are you painting with watercolor? No, it's gouache. It's kind of like watercolor, but not. Sorry, I went off camera there. I was trying to get this edge. Just want this one in shades of purple. Yeah. My friend and I were going to go to Costco today, but I don't know if that's such a good idea with thunderstorms. I have actually been in Costco with a storm and then had to wait forever to get out to my car because you have to walk like half a mile to your car. Yeah, I'm not really wanting to do that in the rain today. Let me just have a purple one and grab some more of this white paint. So this is pretty fun stuff. If you're interested in getting gouache, I kind of recommend it. I recommend it. It's pretty cool. It's really fun. It's really soft. It's way different than painting with acrylic, which is what I normally paint. It's what I teach most of my painting with. Unless it's the kids' classes, we do watercolor, tempera paint, and we do acrylic after they learn how to use paint and not get it all over the place. Then I let them use acrylic paint. And there's one that's purple. So yeah, should do a pink one. This is drying pretty good, but it's not all the way dry. It's not dry enough to take that resist off, and it's really hard to see too. So let's hope that we can do that. So this one we will do in um, maybe we'll do this one pink and purple. But on this one, I am going to wet it first, just because I'm running out of the pink. So I'm just going to wet it down just like a watercolor paper. And we have been alive on here for quite some time, so it's okay if you have skipped around this video. But if you are watching it all the way through, I really appreciate that. Gives me some watch hours. Um, we are currently not monetized on here because obviously we have very few subscribers and we are always looking for more. So feel free to hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and yeah, I want this to do the bloom effect. It's blooming on the water. And I'm not going to do the whole thing like we were doing the whole pieces. Just going to touch it here and there. I'll let it down here again. I'm going to take some white first and drop the white on there. Back out. Grab the purple and then the purple. I have a pink and purple one. Let it drip a little bit. Not too much because I don't want to drip it on my painting underneath there. Drop some pink down on the bottom. Like I said earlier, if you want to get it darker, just add another layer of color. So there's a pink and purple one. Add a little white to it. Lighten it up a little. All right. Well, I've done 4 so far. I'm getting paint all over my hands, which is fine. So, um, yeah, it's not quite dry. I could take a hair dryer to this or a heat tool to heat it up. Could do that. I just don't want to waste this paint. You know what we're gonna try? Let's take that resist marker on one of these blank bookmarks. And I'm going to draw some balloons. Just putting in, I don't know if you guys can see it. So the resist, just doing a bunch of balloons. And then I'm gonna go straight down with a whole bunch of strings. We're gonna test this out. And we're just gonna do this kind for right now. And if this works out, I will try to do some mouse balloons. We'll just say it that way. Let's see. Okay, you'll see it. So we're gonna try to do that, and then I'm going to put um, I'm gonna try to do a quick little bow down here. Which basically a bow is like a butterfly. Um, we're gonna wait for that to dry and then I'll paint that. All right. So hopefully we are still live. I think we are. Let me see. Yep, we're still alive. So anyway, this has been Make Art Monday, and I think what I'll do is I'll post a picture of the finished product later on. Hello, Onyx. Hello, buddy. Hi. And we will take a look at it later. But if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. We have been on here for a long time. We have made one overall painting. I've made 4 bookmarks. There's the 4th one. 4 bookmarks. And we're going to make another one, but I'm trying to resist on this one with some bows. Bows and balloons. So, anyway. Oh, wow, it's been a long video. It's been a long video. Sorry. Takes a long time to make art. So anyway, thanks so much for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow. All right, bye-bye. Bye. Bye.